If we can have your attention, please. You can take out your cell phones, handheld personal devices. They have to be powered off. They can't be on silent, vibrate, or any other mode other than powered down. If you are speaking this evening, we ask that you please sign in. We also ask that you direct all comments, questions, and concerns to the board directly. If you do need to discuss any matters with one another, please take it in the hallway. It interferes with our opportunity to hear those that are speaking. And as always, we're going to be courteous to one another, as well as courteous with regards to our time and time spent speaking. We're going to start this evening's meeting with first opening, and is there a motion to open this evening's meeting?
I move that we open the meeting of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, August 8th, 2016.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to the Architectural Board of Review and Historic Preservation. My name is Curtis Highsmith, and I am your chair. I'd like to introduce our panel for this evening. Unfortunately, we do not have Christina Redding this evening, but we do have Brian Brady, Susan Stevenson, as well as Jeff Broadleib. We have our historic consultant, Zach Studenroth, our legal counsel, Bo Robinson, and Antoinette. As always, we welcome you as well. We're going to start this evening's applications with signs. And first application, please.
First application is Union Cantina for lights.
I see that a message was left to the applicant, and there seems to be no response. And we sent the letter. Okay, so a motion to remove the. Well, actually, we're going to actually motion to
strike the application without prejudice from the agenda.
Elect strike, so a motion to strike the application from the agenda without prejudice.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application as well.
Yeah, they're not here, are they? Kyle.
You should
Kyle?
repeat the resolution anyway.
I'm sorry?
You should repeat the resolution.
I will. Giving one more opportunity for the applicant. Is he present? The building department did try calling the applicant. Unfortunately, the application, the telephone number is the wrong number. Therefore, we have no further development, and the motion would be to strike the application from our agenda without prejudice. Motion?
Susan, Jeff? Yeah.
Which application are we
It doesn't
on?
matter.
It is my day.
For Kyle and Aileen, are we on?
Yes.
Did you know?
Okay. So it's-
Motion to strike the application of Kyle Eileen 2 at 5 Main Street without prejudice.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
That's okay. And our final sign application for this evening.
Century 21, Agawam Town and Village.
Vicky Khan for Century 21 Agawam Town and Village.
Okay.
Everybody.
Aye.
This is just to replace the existing sign with the new name. Exactly the same.
Is this the corporate name now?
Yes.
Fine Homes and Design?
Yes.
So it's a corporate logo and it's the old.
Exactly.
design. So you're just replacing the sign like in kind. It's the same size.
Exactly the same
name is
size,
changed
the same
and-
color, the same blue that it is now. I think we have a color chip in one of these somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a color on the swatch. Will there be any additional lighting other than the one goose down that's currently on the?
Not changing any lighting. It's just really just replacing the sign because corporation requires it.
Brian, any comments?
No, it's fine.
I have no issue.
Same. It's good.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I move that we approve the application of Century 21 and Agawam Town and Village, 51 Hill Street.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, it wasn't on my agenda.
You don't have an agenda?
I have an old one that I wrote on.
Here you go.
That concludes our sign permits for this
Thanks.
evening. First application, historic.
First application is Thomas and Meredith Joyce.
The applicant, John Bennett, I would again, as I have on at least 2 prior occasions, request that the matter be closed, respectfully demand that the matter be closed, and that a decision be rendered on the existing record.
Council, we were looking for,
And I can report that we have 2 companies lined up to do the historic and structural research on this property. It is August on the East Coast. We're going to have to get permission from the trustees or authority for the funding of this, and then they're going to have to go out and do the work. So I'm optimistic that that can all be done by the first meeting in September. Notwithstanding the objection of the applicant, I'm requesting that this matter be adjourned for all purposes to the first meeting in September.
Thank you very much. Any public comment on the application? Understanding and noting your
It's my
objection.
strenuous objection, yes.
John, do you wish to receive a copy of the letter of transmitting the request to the trustees for the funding?
Well, it's part of the public record, yeah.
Well, you want a copy of it now, or
Sure.
just I'll stick it in the file?
Sure. No, I'd like a copy if you have it. Again, I object to the whole process, but yes, I'd love to see a copy of it if you have it. Or I can get it tomorrow or whatever.
It'll be probably tomorrow when.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bo.
Any comments of the board? Motion to adjourn?
To the first meeting in September.
Motion to adjourn the application of Tom and Meredith Joyce, 765 Hill Street, to September 8th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that the right date?
No, it's not the right date, I don't believe.
Oh, sorry.
It's the 10th.
September 10th, my apologies.
Okay. That I'm sorry, the motion is, has been corrected to September 10th. It's been moved in, has been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application, I believe it's the same concerns?
Same circumstances for the board, anticipating that we'll have a report for the, from the consultants by the first meeting in September. A request that that be adjourned for all purposes to that date.
Again, I would demand that the matter be closed and the decision be rendered on the existing record. It has been over 60 days since we requested that the record be adjourned. I think that is simply, while trying to accommodate generally the process, I think this is an inordinate amount of time, an unreasonable amount of time, so I would ask that the record be closed and a decision be made on the existing record. So please, my strenuous objection to any continuation of the matter, and I think it should be closed.
So that your objection is noted. Any public comment? Anything of the board? Or the recommendation of our council, so that we can prepare ourselves for the, properly prepare ourselves for the overall decision of this application. The motion would be to adjourn the application until the meeting of September 12th is actually the correct date. September 12th.
We'll get it eventually, won't we?
Is that motion, please?
Motion to adjourn the application of the estate of John Foster, 328 Gin Lane, until September 12th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next
I'll
application.
get a copy of the letter tomorrow. Thank you. All right. Good evening.
Thanks, John.
Okay, John.
The next application is Anthony Bernaris for driveway gates.
Not here.
We reached out to the applicant. Was there any response or any type of?
I have no information. So
No information. This is now the third no-show. We sent out a request and...
Motion to strike is appropriate.
Absolutely. Is there any public comment on the application or anything further from the board?
The concern here, Curtis, if I may, is that these gates are already up, and...
But not legally.
Right, so I'd like us as a board to address the penalties that may be associated with that. Maybe not here, but maybe with council separately, because in the codes there are provisions for that. I don't know how they apply, and I'm not looking to take time with the board now, but I think it's something worth considering.
You independently or as a board overall, we can get consensus from the building department, who is the enforcery department
Okay.
of our process, and therefore they can render a decision on whether any type of penalties are warranted
Right.
for this application.
Okay.
Motion to stricken the, I'm sorry, strike the application from our agenda without prejudice.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application, closed for written decision by council.
Decision is in the file, conditionally approving this application. Now, the condition follows the recommendations of the historic consultant that the window sashes be changed out and also the side lights on the door. So, decision is so conditioned, giving them until December 31st to do so, at which time the decision will automatically become null and void, and request that the building inspector track the progress of that change out, and that the historic consultant the changes have to be confirmed by the consultant prior to the effective date of the decision.
Zach, we've already determined that those changes have already been implemented.
Have they?
No, the side lights
Sidelights
to the front
to the front
doorway.
porch, yes.
Well, correct myself. I think some work has been done, but I'm not sure it was thorough or even workmanlike. It may be cosmetic in nature, and I think that deserves kind of an up-close.
Zach should go and confirm both, and then submit a written memo to the file.
Okay.
And alert the building department.
Okay. Any comments of the board?
I'm recused on this, on the next one. So.
Motion to approve written decision by council with the provisions that upon Zach's inspection, give me a long time on it. Upon Zach's inspection, that the work that was requested by via his report has been complete per the date and deadline that's been suggested both by council as well as in written decision. So is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that stamped? Sorry, sir.
It's okay. Next application, please.
Next application is James and Valerie, Ireland. Also closed.
Council?
It's actually John and Valerie Ireland, and in the folder there's a written decision approving the application as submitted pursuant to the consensus of the board. The affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by council for 90 Elm Street.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm recused on that.
Okay. It's conditional.
Okay. Next application, please.
Next application is the African American Museum.
Good evening, board members. CMX Sami Architect, representing the Southampton African American Museum of the East End. We were in front of your board last, and this time correctly, we've refiled under historic property or historic building, being that this is a landmark building. And we did review Zach's report and incorporated all the recommendations, and I'm going to walk you through those item by item. Specifically, the first one was the end gable that rises above the projecting entry. We realigned that to be parallel with the rear property line, which is what the original structure is at the moment. Also, a pair of doors, we had what we call a French door proposed. We went back to two independent doors with a post in between, similar to what's the case right now, which basically at that point is reflective of what the old structure was, which were two stores, two different stores separated in the middle. So these two doors are reflective of that, and that's depicted right now in our drawings. Thirdly, we brought back the chimney and made it functional in the sense of readjusting the internal plan and moving the mechanical room in the basement so that we could make use of that chimney actually, rather than just the aesthetic one. And finally, to show the nuances of the building being expanded in time, we're showing the reflection of the different roof and eave heights. The roof actually is all on the same ridge height, but the eaves are broken down, showing the differentiation where the building was added on to in time. These were the primary items that Zach had identified in his report. And we've conformed to those. If you need any additional information, I'm more than glad to.
Zach, have you had the opportunity to look at the plans?
I did briefly. These were just filed, but I received a word from CMAC. So interesting, it's been 10 years almost to the day since the building was first proposed for landmark designation in August 2016. This has been a long process. I think that they're only, and I think these adjustments are in the interest of the preservation of the building. I just have a couple of quick questions. One, I guess from the footprint of the front facade, that the cellar that's to be dug, basement that's to be dug underneath it, will actually project out some 5 or 6 feet from the facade of the building.
Correct. It's slightly less than that, but yes, correct. It's about
And
3 foot
that's-
3.
And that's what kind of explains or justifies the low brick walls that come out, and there's some kind of a window
Bring
arrangement
natural
there
light to the
to
lower
bring
levels. Does the building
light.
have to be lifted at all?
Yes.
It will have to,
Yes.
okay.
It only has a partial
Yeah, the part basement and
now, and you're
then the
looking to-
foundation on that right now so crumbled. Have you had an engineer's report take a look?
At the existing structure, I can vouch for that as a structural.
It'll be a process of
architect.
discovery.
It's pretty non-existent.
I think you did a wonderful job.
Pardon me?
I think you did a wonderful job. I think we went in the process by which
And I just had one other question.
you can answer it.
How are you achieving the striped effect in the wall shingle?
We definitely are going to test different samples, but at the moment we're proposing red cedar shingles, number one, and variated with Alaskan yellow cedar as a band. So they're both cedars, two different types of cedar shingles, but obviously we're going to be exploring that a little bit further, and we'll be more than glad to create samples and
It's an unusual detail.
You're just going to weather differently.
correct.
you know.
They're going slightly weather differently, correct.
Right, but that's different from a coat of paint. In other words, if you just shingled the building, put
Correct.
siding on it,
Correct.
and you wanted to make it decorative,
I
you
think
paint
that
stripes on it. That's essentially the same thing that you're doing here, but you're making that striped effect permanent. It would be as if you alternated shingles with clapboards or some other kind of decorative approach to the siding, which, again, I'm just wondering how important that is to the branding of the image. Like, what's driving that? Because I find that, I don't want to seem kind of like a spoil sport here, but I don't understand it, and I think it's a structural decision. And since we've called into question, some of these other things which alter the original building, I think that re-siding it in striped shingles is,
well.
I don't get it.
Okay, definitely, historically, that wasn't the case with this building.
Right.
If anything, the shingles were painted only in the original portion of the building. There's still remnants of the red paint on
Yes,
that.
I kind of remember seeing that.
Obviously, this is a move that is being proposed by us as a first on this building. Being that it's a museum, being that it's a public building,
Okay.
we want to take it one level. And also one thing to keep in mind, yellow Alaskan cedar does weather in gray, but when you start lining it up intermittently with red cedar, the stain of the red cedar actually will seep into the yellow Alaskan a little bit too. So it would be not as distinct of a line between the two. So the idea is that basically the facade would have some variation in its surface, not just a blank consistent weathering.
So the objective is to give it a modern, contemporary.
I wouldn't say modern. I mean, you can look at plenty Victorian architecture where not only that was done by paint, also with different styles of shingle cuts. So historically, there are precedents for that. But this is a much more subtle version of that, I would say.
It was only a question, trying to understand what the motivation was.
Brian, comments?
About that, I agree with CMAC that it's a museum, and therefore adding a design element to it, I think, is appropriate. I think it's a great idea.
Susan?
I thought the redo of the plan, making the structure the same as it is now, was really well done. I did have questions about the stripes myself, but I'm willing to listen to your commentary.
Yeah, I compliment you on the changes you made in the short period of time in responding to the board, and I can see the value of having something distinctive. The museum does have a purpose, and if that striped shingling attracts more visitors, then I think that's a small compromise to make for the benefit of the museum.
Attractive feature that doesn't detract from its historic significance. I don't have any concerns with it. Any public comment on the application? Application is located in the historic district. You have the consensus of the board to move forward further. So at this point, we'll close the application for written approval by council at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Anything further from the board? Motion to close for written decision by council.
Thank you.
Move that we close the application of the African American Museum, 245 North Sea Road.
Second.
For written decision by
Yeah,
council.
written decision by
It
council.
was second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is 171 Great Plains LLC for driveway gates.
Is the applicant present?
Mark Cirillo, Auto Gate Systems for the applicant.
Material?
So these will be wood-clad gates, painted mahogany.
Mahogany. Spacing between the pickets, approximately 4 inches.
These are going to be 4-inch spacing, inch and a half squares in the upper section.
Excellent. Transparency greater than 50%, correct?
It is.
Any lanterns, lighting, or anything?
No, we have suggested to the owner ground lighting,
So we projected
up
lighting.
lighting, yeah.
I have no issues. Brian? I think it's beautiful. Jeff?
Fine.
Fine.
Any public comment on the application? Even though the driveway gates doesn't seem to be any objection of this board, it's still located in the historic district, and therefore the approval has to be in writing. So we'll have our written decision at our next meeting. Motion to close for written decision by council.
Move that we close the application of 171 Great Plains LLC for a written decision by council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And our last historic application for this evening.
370 First Neck Lane for driveway gates.
Is the applicant present?
Is that him?
Mark Cirillo, Auto Gate Systems for the applicant.
Okay. Little less traditional.
Yes.
Okay. You want to explain the style?
So the style is based on the architect's conception, and it may actually involve an initial of the owners, and the arches form a B and a D. But basically, The gates are designed to where they are not opaque. We can see through the gates. And the arches are part of, structurally, they're going to be part of the facade on each of the gates. Both sets of gates will be the same in terms of size and scale, and hanging on brick piers.
Do you have a sample of the brick? Or will the brick be mimicking or replicating
It is,
brick chimney or?
it is the
feature?
brick that's used throughout the house,
Throughout the house.
on the patio, the chimneys, the steps, the same brick.
And will there be any lanterns or any lighting up above the pillars?
These were going to be, one second, I want to just confirm that we don't have the width of the pyramid. Excuse me. Yeah, it'll be a name sign and number sign in the brick column itself.
Okay, so it'll be the street name and the number.
That's it.
Will you be proposing projected lights towards the gates as well?
We haven't discussed any lighting at all with the client.
Jeff, any comments?
Boy, it's rather fortress-like. Sort of indifferent to it. How wide are the brick pillars?
2 feet?
These columns are 2 feet by 2 feet square.
Nothing further?
No.
Susan?
I'm not crazy. I think I don't like it. I think the piers are, the brick piers, maybe it's this rendering. What color is the gate?
The gate is, no. The gate is going to be a green.
A green, what color green?
Let's see. I'm going to confirm the exact shade of the green in just 1 second.
Okay.
So that color is Faro and Ball. It's a studio green.
You have a sample of that?
Only what's on the rendering. I did not bring in the sample, but this is also, this is
Brought in the
also,
color rendering? I didn't see one in file.
can you pass that up? Sure.
Is this a exact replication of what you're, a sample of what you're proposing?
It is.
In terms of the color of the brick,
It is.
contrast with the green?
It is. And that, those colors carry on in other parts of the house.
Exterior or interior?
Exterior, only exterior.
It would have been helpful,
Pictures of the
yeah, I was gonna
house.
say, it'd been helpful if we had a color, or at least a color rendering of the house, photographs, so that we can make a cross comparison. Do you have that?
I don't have, this house obviously is under construction, you know.
The concerns are, obviously, it's in a historic district. We're introducing what, by all means, a more contemporary fence than typically there are in that community or in that area. There's some color contrast. The brick is a little bright. Based on just the colors, I'm assuming that that'd be the case, but sometimes when you, whether you're using AutoCAD or Rivet or any other program, the color doesn't match exactly. So it really would be helpful for us to see exactly what you're using as your model.
I might add to that, although it's not necessary to do a streetscape, but I know in going back to review the file, I'm going to be more cognizant of what's there. I mean, that street obviously has gates aplenty, but I can't recall anything quite as formidable or as imposing as that. I'm not saying it's an unattractive gate, but just in terms of the consistency with that which is on that street, and that's a very important street.
We do have photos of, which I'll have to have printed in larger scale. We took photos of full-size, full-scale mock-ups that were done and were erected at both driveways, including the piers. So
Be helpful.
they're all white, so there's no color contrast. They were cutouts done in AutoCAD, where the foam planking. You familiar with that?
Is this a regular?
I actually saw those.
That's it.
They put them up.
Sorry, I'm the architect who
This
designed the
is
gate.
Jeffrey.
Your name for the record, please, sir.
Jeffrey Hall.
Mr.
And
Hall, even though you have it on your phone, which I would feel comfortable with, we would need a sample of that as part of the file.
is it worth passing this around?
I would never want to hold anyone's phone.
I will say that the gates were modeled after an English arts and crafts
Right,
design.
that's
In
what it
white,
looks like.
based on what I just saw, I wouldn't have an issue.
Right,
So it's the color?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's an easy fix.
That's an easy fix.
Is there privet on either side?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
green, I think, might look nice.
But we'd have to see it. I mean, there's no way of...
It would blend in a little bit more.
Well, did we
Our
get-
our full-scale mock-up is white, so that's the only difference.
There are other green gates closer to town on First Neck Lane.
Oh, yeah, we understand that, but you have a green gate with very, I guess, less traditional brick on a less traditional gate. It's just a lot in an area which is, I think, a little toned down.
There
And we
is,
just need some demonstration that it would not be out of keeping.
I will say that the brick it's a bit loud on the drawing, but it is actually antique brick
Okay.
that we're using. It's the same we've used on the chimneys and the
So
house.
this is not a...
No, it's a little vivid.
It's loud, exactly. So, but you have to understand that the information I have, the material that we're looking at,
I understand.
that's all we have to go by. You have to demonstrate to us that what you're proposing, obviously, is in keeping and fits in. We can only use, we can imagine a lot of things, but we prefer to make decisions based on fact, and we can't personally see that right now.
so we can bring trim, solid stain, the same color, and samples of brick, actual brick. The house has street-facing chimneys, large chimneys, and pillars that are...
We approve that? I'm just joking.
Yeah, so with the same brick, so...
Yeah, the photo of the house, or the rendering of the house in color, I guess a better representation of what the actual color and design of the driveway gates will be would be helpful to show that, demonstrate it with the hedging or the privet, so that we could have it all in full confidence.
And I actually saw those maquettes you put up in white, and I've walked past that house a million times. But I have some issues with the sort of statement of the fence, because your house is highly visible from the road, and it has many design elements. There's a lot going on, including the brick chimney in the front. And I'm not crazy. I have some issues with the brick part of the piers, actually. Or if it were more, it just seems like you're repeating the house up by the road, and that may be, to me, is strident. Actually, the white maquettes that you put up, I thought were okay, although I did think that the gate itself had a kind of heavy feeling. I think your house has a very solid, heavy feeling, too, so I have issues with this.
A bit of a Wagnerian.
I guess so. My husband, too. Okay. So there's a lot of brick out there flanking First Neck Lane.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not an architect, but I do have issues with this.
Could I ask you a question?
I just one more time. Brian, did I give you comment? Did you give comment?
No, but I can. No, I'd like to see the pictures of the house and things and actually go drive by, because I think it's reading more like a garden gate to me, and I think green is appropriate for that. And I think it'll disappear more if there's privet. And I think if it's in white, it'll make much more of a statement.
Okay.
And I think the design is a classical design, actually.
Zach?
I just wanted to point out that the image that we have in the file accentuates the brick in the way it's been laid, its relationship to the how it projects beyond the surface of the mortar in between. And I don't know if that's an accurate portrayal of how the bricks are going to be laid to form the piers, and if they replicate the way the chimneys are built, or if the actual mortar is handled differently, because there's something more aggressive in the brickwork, the way it's pictured, than it may actually be. And I think that there's may be somewhat subtle, but the bricks really project out between the bedding mortar between them. I don't know if that's how it's
That's
planned to be
definitely in the
built.
rendering, because
not.
the mortar joints are flat and struck.
Traditional.
So I don't know whether that's just the way the portrayal is done, but I think that gives it a different effect of the brickwork than it may actually.
Yeah, there are more shadow lines
So
on the
that's,
rendering.
I don't know if that can be adjusted so that it portrays differently in the picture.
I would think that since the chimneys and all the other brickwork are all in place, I think large-scale photographs of that would be an
Okay.
accurate depiction, because
Sure.
it's
Sure.
the same mason, the same,
Got it. Okay.
everything about it would be the same. The AutoCAD does strike those individual units
Okay.
out with harder edges.
I think that's visually an issue here in the way this.
It looks like a Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
Any public comment on the application? Okay, so we come back with the revisions and the samples that were requested, correct?
Will do.
Thank you. And you're asking this board to adjourn so you can prepare yourself? Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Concludes our historic applications for this evening. Our first application, non-historic.
22 Windmill Lane.
Is this new? There's nothing that's new in there.
How are you? So I brought the plan, the elevation that was asked for, finally. Last time. Ian, the drawings? Do you want one set or just?
Well, we have two concerns right now. One, you brought in a very large set of plans.
Yeah, it's okay. I can take the one piece out, the elevation that you need, and that's it, just the one, if that's what you need.
What you're proposing to us right now is different from what you currently have in our file, correct?
Yeah,
So we need
which is the front facade. That was all that was in question.
Okay, so we need 2 copies of that.
Okay. Quickly.
Floor plan layout, dimensions have changed other than the front
Nothing else
facade?
has changed, no. We just needed to change this 3-window layout from what was originally in the house. Because the original had 5 windows across. You want to roll it up or?
She has to stamp it.
Just a stamp.
It's one.
For future applications, if you were to come before the board, please bring in a reduced copy.
Oh, okay. The rest of it you have already.
Bet you fold clothes really well.
Yeah, he does. It's really good looking, and there's sharp creases.
My wife would love you. Throw it in the closet. We asked to remove and downsize some of the windows that were on the front facade. We've done the revisions. Jeff, do you have any comments?
No, no.
Susan?
I don't have any either.
No, I think it finally depicts the photograph that they
Brought in.
with it, and I think it's nice to see this up and running.
Any public comment on the applicant? You want another comment?
I was just going to say that I could find the original holes. I found everything where the windows originally were and everything, so they're going to be in the spot.
Okay. Any public comment on the application? I know that part of the process, Zach, you wanted to discuss whether being added as part of the overall project. I don't know if that can actually be enforced in terms of an approval, but it could be a suggestion and
Be a suggestion.
do as much outreach as you possibly can to get it done.
I'd certainly make myself available if it's requested.
With you are you project manager or the?
Yeah.
All right, would you be?
I mean, I'm going to try to salvage as much as I can because I love the antique stuff that's in there. So I have no objection to trying to do the best we can.
Do you have any objection to having Zach assist you in the process?
Well, it's not, I mean, it depends on how much power he's going to have. I don't want you to be making
I have no
business
power.
decisions or financial decisions. But you can, he
I have no
can make
power.
suggestions. I don't mind that. But
that would be part of
if
the
it comes
process.
down to a monetary issue,
Well, understand something, and just for the record, so people understand that
Yeah.
Zach's not a voting body of the board.
Right.
Zach is a consultant for our board.
Right.
So we weigh on his expertise in historic preservation to
Yeah,
take a
yeah.
look. So this process would be merely to, not necessarily oversight, but review. And in areas where the suggestions could be made, could be available.
right. Okay.
Is that reasonable? All right. Board members, motion to approve.
A motion to approve the application of 22 Windmill Lane LLC, 22 Windmill Lane.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next application, please.
Next application is Frederick Eaton, driveway gates. I think it's pretty much the same issue.
All right. Another scenario where gates exist where they shouldn't illegally. You want to go and tack them at the building department, Jeff?
No, actually,
sick 'em.
in this case, he changed the gates from 8 feet to roughly 6 feet and changed them from cedar to white. So, and one of the neighbors was here last week saying that they were happy with it. I don't know what we do in terms of approving. Yeah.
He has not come in. We have no change plans,
Right.
renderings that would indicate the new dimensions.
Right.
I understand, I was told he's painted the gates. All of that means nothing. As of right now, the gates are not legally
Right.
up. This board has not approved it, so therefore we restrict it from our agenda. If the building department feels and seeks to go further with any type of reaction or action on this, it's their discretion to do so. We've done our part. Any public comment? Anything further from the board? Motion to strike the application of,
Frederick Eaton.
yes, from the agenda without prejudice.
I second the motion.
I'd rather you motion it, please. I know.
A motion to strike with the application of Frederick Eaton, 121 Moses Lane, driveway gates
Without prejudice.
without prejudice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is Samuel Weinstein.
Yeah.
Do we need this?
It's
To see what he
the
has.
chimney.
Right, so for the applicant, my name is Luke Farron, project architect. I dropped a new package off late last week. It's the same as what you saw the week before, with the exception of the chimney. We've removed the stainless steel chimney in lieu of a antique brick chimney with a bluestone top.
So what color is it? It's whitish?
Yeah, it's an antique brick
It
that will
looks
have a
white
lot
on
of
the rendering,
Yeah, it'll have a lot of white coming through.
but that was my question, because it just looks white on, it's the last
Is it
page,
Lorraine?
right?
I'm not totally familiar with that
So
term.
it's whitewashed, basically.
Yes. We don't do much brick.
Not too much stainless.
This isn't it, is it?
No,
No,
this
this
is
isn't it.
This is the
This is it, with the chimney. So on this,
Yes.
it looks extremely white, which
Right.
is,
That's-
considering there's nothing else white, you know, our object, I don't think, was to make the chimney stick out as much as possible, was it?
No, but that brick, if it's what
Okay.
he said, is going to blend
Good.
into the house.
Okay,
It's
that's
a
my
whitewash.
question.
It's not a. It's more of a whitewash.
Okay.
Right.
Is it? You're saying right.
I'll put
It
whatever
sounds like
brick
you're
that
saying
you
anything.
want.
we
Here,
want to
here.
get improvement. I just want to know for the record what exactly.
No, in my mind, it is a antiqued red brick that has a lot of the white material bleeding out, so it is sort of like mostly white, red undertones. What Brian said, basically.
You know the house on
You owe him a commission.
Wickapog
I'm
had the
happy
gates
to
that
pass
you
it
didn't
on.
like, and
Yeah.
it's a grayish brick.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, right?
Any comments, Jeff?
No, I just have an issue with that house in that neighborhood, but obviously I'm a minority on that.
I appreciate that you changed the chimney.
Any public comment on the application? As long as the brick is whitewashed and not a white painted.
It won't be white paint.
It looks stupid.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the application of Samuel Feinstein, 119 Cooper's Farm Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Let the record reflect, Jeff was a nay.
He's got. Took some time, huh?
And for the record, this is the reason why we asked for smaller renderings.
Yeah. And there's more.
Next application, please.
Next application is Beach Plum Meadows LLC, and there's a letter in the file to adjourn.
Motion to, do you have a date? I'm sorry.
The next meeting.
The next meeting. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want me to make the motion?
Yeah,
Oh, here we go.
there you go. Next application, please.
Next application is Southampton RE Partners.
Got smaller produced copies.
Fantastic.
Aaron Weil of Bates Massey Architects in East Hampton, here representing Southampton RE Partners LLC for the property at 95 Down East Lane, the end of the cul-de-sac facing Hetty Creek.
Is it just 95 or 95 and 85?
Just 95.
The lots weren't
They are.
co-joined?
There's a subdivision process.
Emily Levy from Inner Science Research Associates. They were inadvertently merged in death, and we are working with Gil Flanagan of Brick Planning and Asado. We're up for next month with the planning board for final sketch or final approval for the subdivision. But the house that Bates Massey has designed complies with the existing lot line, as well as the lot line modification to make the two properties
So-
conforming.
We can't tell which is which, though, can
So
we?
the specs that speak to,
Tonal difference in that aerial photo. You can see the 85 is a lighter gray or lighter green. If you could show on the map there. This line you see here is the proposed subdivision line separating the two properties. So the darker green is 85, the lighter green is 95.
so
So that's
this-
much smaller, that second lot, right? That's 95 or 85, sir?
That's 95, sorry.
So the building is on 85 that you're proposing?
No, it's on 95.
And 85 is,
The smaller parcel next to it.
that wasn't immediately obvious to me.
And the specs that speak to the 17,800 and some odd feet versus the allowable 18,000, that's based solely on the 95?
Yes, the calculations, the maximum gross floor area based on the 242,232 square foot size of just lot 95 would be 30,000, but obviously it's capped at 18,000 by the village, so we're conforming to the 18,000 square foot size.
And it may or may not play into this, but you had said that they were joined at one point.
They were merged
they
in
in-
death, and we are, 85 as it stands today is
That's
a,
okay, Jeff, I can confirm that the decision for the planning board to approve the subdivision is in the offing out of the inside.
Right. Are they owned by the same party as both properties?
It's a subdivision, so
Yeah.
well, it's merged in death, so I presume the ownership is common at the present time, soon to be approved for subdivision.
Okay.
Actually, a very common thing happened to me. Just going through it right now.
You're still here.
You didn't die.
In physical,
You didn't
not
die from
spirit.
it.
All right, so now that we got all that concerns obviously taken care of, anything further, any other questions about the subdivision?
No.
Let's move further into the thing that we have jurisdiction over, and that's your architectural.
Applicant proposes to demolish a pre-existing single-family home with associated garage, patios, asphalt driveway, the date from approximately 1950, and construct a new two-story single-family dwelling with attached garage, associated patios, gravel driveway, buried mechanical equipment enclosures, and swimming pools. If you flip to the plan, the next page, the house is for a senior couple and their two grown sons, who each have their own wives and children. The house will primarily be used as a summer home, and they said they like to spend more time outdoors than indoors. So the house is broken into pieces to form alternating indoor spaces and courtyards, such that the indoor spaces are glass on three sides, and the courtyards are protected from the wind and partially shaded. Looking to the pool rendering on the next page. The courtyards extend out to form terraces that feature pools and gardens to provide a series of microclimates ranging from direct sun to partially shaded to fully sheltered. So with these microclimates, they extend the season that they can be outside comfortably. If you flip to the elevation, the home is in a FEMA flood zone, base flood elevation 9 feet above sea level, so with the 2-foot freeboard, the minimum elevation is 11 foot of the first floor. We're setting it 12 foot to get a garage below it. Maximum allowable height is stipulated by the village as 28 feet, measured from the base flood elevation plus 2, so it's capped at 39 feet. We're setting the height at 38 feet. The natural grade on the landward side of the house is 9 feet above sea level, and we'll be bringing it up 11 feet. So the height above natural grade is 29 feet, and above the raised grade is 27 feet. So for a FEMA property, it's not extremely elevated. The house complies with all other setbacks, coverage limits, maximum area, etc. As you saw on the aerial photo, it's a 5.5 acre site, so the separation to the neighboring houses is pretty substantial, 413 feet, 325. The shortest being 176 there. And there's existing mature trees on the landward perimeter, and those will be enhanced with an extensive landscape plan. As I mentioned, the house is slightly elevated, 3 foot above natural grade due to the FEMA requirement. So the house sits on a base of stone, a dense gray marble. I have a sample. It's a dense gray marble called Lado Real. And, well, the pool rendering shows that sort of plinth the best. there's the stone plinth. Then the first floor, to maximize access to the exterior and views, is mostly glass. And the solid portions will be an aluminum panel, a cast aluminum panel. We're working with a fine arts foundry on a cast aluminum panel, dull gray in color. And what they're going to do is actually lay seagrass or beach grass in the bottom of the form as they cast it. Beach grass will burn off and just leave the texture of the grass. It's a reference to the meadow that the landscape architects are proposing around the house.
Some retirement home.
Yeah.
You have the means, I guess. The second floor, housing the bedrooms, much more private and therefore screened with a rain screen siding of Atlantic white cedar planks, and they will have what's called the live edge. So the faces will be milled. This isn't representative of the live edge, but the rendering shows the uneven edges there. So the two faces will be milled, but the edges of the board, you'll actually see the sides of the trunk, basically. So it's a organic edge in contrast to the horizontal.
Could you just hold up? I can't see. No, not that. The rendering.
Oh, the rendering.
I like your material. Okay, good. That was in the file, actually. So we're talking about the second floor now? This roofy thing? That thing. Okay.
So that's it for the materials. A very simple palette so that the landscape and the view is the most significant. The extensive landscape plan consists of a meadow on the seaward side and some representative images of from the landscape architect. The landward side, at the arrival area, will be a grove of trees, really screening the house from the neighbors. And the landscape architects did a quick study of the view from the cul-de-sac, which, based on the 35-foot trees that they're proposing, would be nearly entirely screened from the property.
This may sound like an odd question, but do you have a view from Hetty Creek, the other side of Hetty Creek?
The pool rendering is in that direction, but it's not set far back. Yes, this one. This is from that direction.
Right. But that's a reflecting pool or a...
It's a swimming pool.
This is a swimming pool.
That's the swimming pool?
The one in the
The one closest to me?
Yes. Yeah, there is a spa in the background.
On the reflecting.
Right, I see that.
Be standing right here.
And that entire area is terraced with...
Yes.
Yeah.
Marble.
That's the patio.
How big is the patio?
What is your concern?
It's a huge house on now a huge patio.
On a
The
huge
view.
parcel that no one will ever see.
I'm not positive that no one will ever see it. That's my question.
I would have to check to give you an
Like over here.
exact size of the terrace.
These people.
So you feel that
This shows the setbacks.
you feel that the terrace is a negative impact from a right-of-way or purview?
From the neighbors. It's not a right-of-way. The right-of-way is either the creek or the
That's correct.
the road.
That's correct.
Right. No, I'm more interested in the neighbors. It's a big piece of land, but that is a big house with a lot of terraces. I'm just asking. I don't know. I can't go in there if they don't show up. No one. I don't know who's here, but it makes a bigger statement by having so much material on the ground. That's my concern.
Jeff, any comments?
No. I think it's an intriguing house, to be sure.
Brian, do you have any comments?
I think the house is beautiful. I think you did a great job. I love the way it's a series of pavilions connected with inside and outside, so therefore the mass of the house isn't overwhelming in any way. I love the fact that it just blends right into the landscape with the materials you used. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
This is probably one of the most peaceful houses
Yeah.
you would ever walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really what I meant by some retirement home. It's really peaceful. I think every aspect of it, from the reflective pool to the spa to the actual color, the slate that you've chosen is downtone. It's not. It's this landscape that you've chosen and you provided shows nothing but security and privacy. I have no objections of this project at all. Any public comment on this application? So I'm just asking the other two board members, do you have any objection to the application as submitted?
No.
You do?
No, I think it's, like I say, intriguing and a beautiful house.
Okay.
I
think it's a
great if you
beautiful
owned the
house.
property next door as well, but I don't know what the heck's going on there. But
Yeah. All right. There's no objection. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the application of Southampton RE Partners LLC, 95 Down East Lane.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck. Next application, please.
Next application is Ben Carr Building Corp., driveway gates.
Mark Cirillo, AutoGate Systems, representing the builder, the owner.
Who is the owner, since there's no principal in the affidavit of disclosure?
Ben Carr Building, LLC?
Yes, you need to, if you look at the form, you're supposed to put a principal, an actual person who could be contacted in the future should.
It can be a corporate identity. It doesn't have to be a person.
I don't think so. Is that true? He doesn't know. I don't think that's it. It makes it, has a special part. Okay.
I have more of
Okay.
an opposition to driveway gates just in the areas, a whole prospect. It's introducing a foreign element to that community, and I kind of have a concern because it's more residential. It's not, that portion of the community doesn't have, has not demonstrated that it has ever warranted driveway gates. So I have some concerns just in the application as a whole and the appropriateness of the driveway gate, especially on this particular parcel. Could you explain a little bit more in detail?
It's a very busy street, as you
That's
know. And where the gates are set back at 24 feet, the house is only another 24 feet. So the house is, I believe the house is less than 50 feet setback from the road. And while the client originally had asked for gates that would be more opaque, we were successful in discussing with him and getting him to understand allowing the openness, especially in the upper section. His main concern was to try to mitigate some of the noise from the road traffic.
Do you think the driveway gates are going to mitigate noise?
It's a combination of buffer of landscape and privet hedging and building it up as much as they can. And the gates, if gates or fencing that was solid, noise does reflect and bounce off solid objects. But in this case, the only thing that's solid on this gate is the lower panel, which is just about headlight height on a vehicle.
There are piers already built there, is that correct?
There are piers there that are in place.
That are not, they don't look actually like this drawing.
They're stone piers that match the builder's chimney. They were built when they built the chimneys. So they're clad in Pennsylvania wall stone.
Right.
I just give you my concerns. Jeff?
Yeah, on that street, which I traverse frequently because I live in the area, there's only one other house that has a very understated white picket gate, which has maybe, I think, four by four posts, very understated. This would be, to Curtis's point, the first significant and uncharacteristic stone gate. I do just, because I travel the street as much as I do take issue with the noise. In fact, you're going to get noise there. They're a block away from the train. So, I mean, the railroad tracks. So noises are not an issue. And if noise is a concern, that's really not an area that one should buy a house. But on the other hand, that's a personal decision. But on what this board can opine on, it's a misfit, quite honestly, Mark, in that neighborhood.
Right. We do understand that, well, along the street, many of the homes are modest in scale. But this, there was a tear down there, so this is a new construction, it's a new build, much larger.
Exactly. So what?
Understand. I understand, and I also understand in design what the applicant is attempting to do. You're looking at a grand home, so you want to have the perception from the street almost like an estate. It's not something I would encourage for that community. That is not the estate section, and I don't think that is the introducing driveway gates in that community on this particular lot, because it's already, as you stated, a larger stated home. This just brings, I think, the wrong attention to the community and to that parcel. Brian?
I think the combination of the stone piers with the gate is just too much.
So, obviously, I have to go back to the owner and discuss other options. So the first question is going to be, the first option that we're going to discuss is going to be the overall height. Is there any objection to the overall height versus if the gate was lowered in height?
We have, I think, objections to the whole concept. Is that correct?
I am absolutely
I'm
not in agreement. Now, the question is, you have a right to do and apply for whatever you want. My responsibility as one single board member is to identify where I feel that things are not in keeping and not appropriate. I don't feel comfortable approving driveway gates in that community. Whereas another board
Just
member
to be clear, so driveway gates, period.
on that lot in that community, correct?
Because that'll be something that, he's going to want to address for sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's an open forum. Let's come in and have that discussion with this board, and he can also watch the video and get the minutes from the meeting. But that's going to be my stand.
Okay.
Me personally.
And in polling the board, everyone feels the same way?
Yes.
Right, so.
Gates versus no gates?
Brian, you
I don't feel that the same way. I think very understated gates could be acceptable.
Okay.
It's the piers that I have a problem with gates.
Got it.
Anything from the public? Anything further from the board? Oh, wait. Motion to adjourn. Unless you have something further to add.
No, not before discussing with the owner.
Very good.
Motion to adjourn the application of Bencar Building Corporation, 128 West Prospect Street for driveway gates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is Kenneth Schwartz.
Good evening, I'm representing Ken, Tommy Alfredo from Alfredo LDC Landscape Design Build Firm. We proposed pillars and driveway gates. Should have the sketches in your file.
It was confusing. There are two driveways there, right?
Exactly. We're relocating the one driveway, which we
Not
have.
the one that shoots all the way down? This one's going...
Yeah, wait.
They're two side by side. It was very confusing over there.
If you look at this plan, do you have this plan in your file? You should have. The dotted line on the plan, the dotted line on the plan is the existing driveway, and the solid line is the new approved driveway. They're almost parallel.
Right. Well, if you go over there are two driveways.
Well, the Right, the existing is still there because we're using that for construction.
Okay, well, that was what I was trying to get clarified, which is which.
Gate is going to be white mahogany. There's white trim on the house, so we thought that would be in keeping. We designed a gate that we feel is very Hampton-like. The pillars are 2x2, 8 feet tall. The pillars are going to be a combination of Connecticut wall stone, which will be in the characters of the soft grays with occasional beige, very similar to our neighbor to the left.
Is there any element of the house that mimics that style?
Of the stone?
Yes.
No, there's no stone on the house.
I was wondering why you're introducing this to your lot. I understand your neighbor maybe wanting to introduce this element, but there's nothing bringing that style to your lot from your home.
The owner liked the feeling of the stone look next to the, introducing the house. We do have stone in the back of the house on several features. But
What are your chimneys?
Our chimneys are all wood. Yes.
I'm sorry?
The chimneys are all cladded. They're not masonry. So the idea was, there's not really any stone on the house, but we felt that this was a nice look, a nice design to go with our entry.
To me, the stone piers have a more forbidding look than like white wood panels, especially on a property where there's no other prominent stonework. So I feel that the intention should not be so exclusionary that like you get up to the gates of the castle and then there's going to be a moat and then there's the castle. That, it's supposed to be a welcoming streetscape, like of all the houses. And so I find the idea of the stone to be less than a happy idea for me.
But one of the things in the rendering, you're obviously just looking at the stone with the gates. We've actually got privet higher than this stone that are going to abut right up to the stone. So the fact that the stonework is only 2x2 and our existing privet hedge is an existing privet hedge on the property that we're relocating once we close the one opening. I think it's going to be a very softer look.
Do you have a sample of the stone? Do you have a rendering?
No.
It would be helpful. It would be helpful, a photo, something demonstrating exactly the style, the design, the color that you're proposing. There's no lanterns or any type of...
No lighting on it at all.
Lighting at all. And the bottom half, the color of the actual, the panelization on the bottom of the gate?
Everything is white.
Everything's white. Okay. I need to see more detail in terms of the stone, this visual, a color rendering, a sample, something that shows me that, even if you're saying that you're replicating the neighbor's chimney, and a photo of that so at least I can see pattern, I can see detail.
Neighbor's pillars.
The pillars, okay.
And
So
these are 8 feet tall?
Yes.
the pillars are.
Yeah, that seems
It's a lot.
tall.
It's a lot. Wow. Brian, I'm sorry, Jeff. Brian, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Would it help if we did a rendering showing even the existing privet in relationship to that?
More information.
I think it softens the look.
Whatever you feel, so you understand stuff, you're presenting a case. Bless you. So, bless you. Thank you. We have to be able to take material that you've given us to render a decision. So the more detail you can present before this board, the more that you feel that it's going to help us make that decision and feel comfortable with it, the better the application will go through.
Are there any issues with the gate design itself?
No problem with the design. It's just an 8-foot stone wall that I can't see what it's going to look like. It seems like excessive. Can you step forward?
Yes, of course.
Sorry. And your name for the comment. I'm sorry, Brett, for the record.
I'm Ken Schwartz. I'm the owner of the property. And first, I would like to say that when we applied for the building, the board gave us a recommendation, and I compliment the board because it was an enhancement. Even my architect said the roof is a better roof with the dormers. We had fewer dormers as a result of the meeting. So I thank you for that. I have a great concern for deer entering the property. I have a significant investment, in landscaping and flowers. And so with respect to the pillars being 8 feet tall, they're only 2 feet wide, and then the fence kind of comes down a little bit, and So deer can jump.
Understand that.
So that was my concern, I just wanted to say.
Our concern is we would rather see like white wood paneled piers or white painted brick piers. If you wanted it to be masonry, it's just the stone that we're sort of
I understand,
questioning.
okay. I would say also that we are at the end of a cul-de-sac, so it's not a very public or traveled street. Maybe that would be a consideration as well.
There are a lot of gates down at the end of your cul-de-sac, not just the ones you're proposing.
Oh, yes. It's true. Okay, well, so I guess we can
Well, the gate
take
is
photos.
good.
The gate is good.
It's
the
the stonework.
Right.
Right, the piers.
And if we could take a picture or something, we're going to
Yeah,
try.
we'll do a computer enhancement to show with the hedges and everything else. I actually feel the stone would feel softer than 8-foot by 2-by-2 white stanchions. I think the stone blends in better, so we'll supply you with that.
If I may, because we've come up before with the 8-foot fence. I think, Bo, you said that there's some alternatives in terms of wiring. So there are alternatives, and it's such a beautiful house that you designed and it has a soft look. To have an 8-foot gate, especially with the stone pillars, I think takes away from that. That's my opinion. Obviously, you feel otherwise, but it sounds like you're motivated by the concern of deer, and I would suggest that there are alternatives. They're not all successful because, quite honestly, the deer during the... So, I mean, that's just something we live with.
Yes, understood. I would certainly take the board under consideration.
Thank you.
Seriously, because, as I say, you improved the look of our house with your earlier recommendation about the dormer, so
Thank
we'll
you.
do.
Thank you.
Thank you. That happens.
Any public comment? Nothing further from the board? So you'll prepare yourself for the next
Yes, of
meeting? You're
course.
asking the board to adjourn so you can prepare
Yes, of
yourself?
course, yes.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
When is that, sir?
26th?
August, okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn,
Approve the applicant's
approve the
request?
applicant's request to adjourn to the next meeting, Kenneth Schwartz, 155 Duck Pond Lane, for driveway gates until the next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is 4 Squabble Lane.
It's nice little plan. No.
So you're handing in smaller sets and survey. Are they matched to everything we have in file? Have there been any revisions that I should be aware of?
One small revision to the survey, the septic and the geothermal wells have been switched.
Okay.
I don't think that's our concern.
Infrastructure, that's nothing to do with us. Your name for the record, sir?
Michael Coleman, Estelle Vermont Rouhani Architect.
And I'm Viola Rouhani of Selma.
I'm sorry, did you get your name?
Yeah, Rouhani. This is for a new single-story house, or double-story single-family house on Squabble Lane for a family with young children. And there's an existing house there that we have an approval to be demolished, and I think that was in the paperwork that was circulated to you.
You wouldn't have to apply for a demo
Okay.
to this department. You just have to go to the building department. It's not in the historic district.
Okay, great. So it's basically a kind of a courtyard scheme, both in the front and in the back. And this is a model for you to see kind of like the volumetric aspect of it. One big bar on top of two lower ones, and there's a carport, garage, and kind of a gym function on the water side. All living spaces are on the upper floor, and then kind of a great room on the lower floor, and outdoor covered dining on the waterfront side. And the materials are basically a cement board panel that clads the upper area you'll see in your renderings. And the window and door system is black aluminum. And on the lower floor, we have a stucco that's kind of a sand pattern in kind of a neutral tone. And for the stone, we are proposing it's a gray, what would you call it?
Sandstone.
It's a sandstone. And this is what would happen in all of these paved areas around the pool, the entry walks, and these entry walls that are about 30 inches tall on the front of the house. And the existing property has 2 curb cuts, and we are reducing that to 1. The rendering that you see from the front is taken from about here in the driveway and in the back around here. And Ian here can speak to the landscape, but the house is pretty well screened with kind of a forest of trees here. There's a path that takes you around to the back that's also kind of screened with trees, and it's completely in the X zone, and that's what's determining the siting of the house.
What's the height?
The height is, I think it's 28 foot 11 from grade.
From grade, so you don't have FEMA concerns?
No, it is. It's 29 feet from
Which is also the BFE.
FEMA, 27
Yeah.
from Freeboard.
Yeah.
There's a 6-foot stone, is there a wall when you first drive in here, 6 foot
Yeah,
high?
that's a typo. They're actually lower. No, they're 30
I
inches.
just didn't want it to be something that everyone else wanted
We have
too.
to change that, yeah.
Okay, so it's not a big tall wall?
No. It's more like the rendering. You can see it's lower. It's about 30 inches from grade as you drive in.
Okay, good.
Jeff, comments?
No, look, it's a very contemporary design on a relatively large and private street, and there are other contemporary houses in that area.
It's a pretty
So
eclectic neighborhood.
It's really, I'd be curious if any of the neighbors have any issues.
Jeff, comments?
Nope, fine.
I'm sorry, Brian.
It's only 8:30.
The foot's
Come on.
okay, but the rest of the time.
No, I think it's a beautiful house, and it's nice to see nice architecture being built where we need it.
Well, at least I can get your name right, Susan.
Yeah, okay, well, I like the house. I thought you did, it was a nice job, especially in light of the one neighbor who has that enormous facade.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I've rarely come across something so blatant. I mean, it was like crying to knock down the house that's there, to get away from that somewhat.
Well, that was kind of part of why we
I
decided
bet.
to go with kind of a courtyard scheme.
Kind of on both
Look
sides.
inward.
Yeah, so I think it's a nice house.
Contemporary home, but I think it's very understated.
Yeah.
Being contemporary, it's kind of a difficult task to have an understated contemporary home.
And it's friendlier
And
than most.
you could have done a lot more, and you didn't. It seemed that you were very controlled in the application overall.
Yeah, agreed.
I have no objection at all. Is there any public comment on the application?
No, so.
Motion?
Motion to approve 4 Squabble Lane, LLC, 4 Squabble Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but
And
not
final
least,
application for the evening.
Sabonic Realty, LLC.
Put this in the previous one.
there's a lot of approval.
Yeah. The record reflect the applicant sent in his posting and mailing.
Good evening. Sean Leonard, the architect for the applicant.
Plans that you're submitting as reduced site, reduced plans, that they are replication of what currently is filed. There have been no revisions to anything just being
Correct. So this is Snow White Laundry, which is at 50 County Road 39. It's the old laundry building there. So we plan to demolish the existing laundry building and to rebuild it in its current footprint, which is what we have.
I'm sorry. We drive by that every day. It's about time someone's doing something with that lot.
So we're working with the existing footprint that's there. That's what was approved by the planning board. So we've been working with that. As you can see from the north elevation, what we have proposed is we have the gable end there with just some signage, a couple of windows that'll be on both sides with some shed dormers, asphalt shingle roof. This will be like a galvanized metal roof coming down. We're working with just the white hardy plank boards, and then all the window frames is the Anderson black for the window frames. On the this would actually be the east side here. We just have the gable end for the main entrance coming into the building. And then on the west side, what we've done was there's kind of an odd little shaped portion of the building, so we use that to kind of create the tower that we have here. It's just an architectural element. It's not a two-story piece to the building, so it was just to give it a little bit of interest on that side as you're coming down from on the west side of the building.
That's also the roof, correct?
That's also with the galvanized metal roof. You
do realize, and just for the record, and let it indicate that you still have to apply for your sign permit.
Yes, I'm aware.
I know you have as part of the application.
So the thought is when we do is the sign would just be standoff letters. They'll sit right onto the building, but that'll be.
But you'll have to present that at another. You would have to actually put an application in for a sign permit.
Yes, we'll take care of that. The south side of the building is pretty plain. It's just the asphalt shingle roof. There's no windows there, so it's kind of, it doesn't disturb anyone to the south. Do you have any questions?
I don't have a single question. Jeff?
No, Sean, it's a nice design.
Susan?
No problem.
Brian?
It's great.
Any public comment? Good job. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the application of Savonic Realty LLC, 50 County Road 39.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Remaining items are the minutes from July 11th. All board members present? Motion to approve the minutes from July 11th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from July 11th.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Also the 25th.
No, you're approved. Oh, I'm sorry.
July
I
25th.
got confused.
That's
The
okay.
11th were approved, the 25th was what?
Right. Motion to approve the minutes from the July 25th, 2016 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion to close to this evening's meeting of the Architectural Board of Review and Historic Preservation of August 8th, 2016.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night.